Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm Ben, and today we are going to be taking the Cyrusher Rover 52 volt 750 watt fat tire e-bike out for a ride. Huge thanks to them for sending this bike out to me to test for you guys, but that is where the pleasantries end because I do not review bikes to sell them to you. I review bikes to see just exactly how good they are. So today we're going to take this bike out on the pavement and see what it can do. Then we'll take the bike off-road to see how the motor and suspension performs on some slightly more difficult terrain. And at the end we'll wrap things up and I'll let you know how I thought this bike performs as a whole. But of course, before we can do that, we've got to get it unboxed and assembled and go over some of the finer details. So let's get into it. Seems to be packaged really nicely. Good looking color. Really kind of fancy looking seat. Quite the fancy looking toolkit. Tires are unbranded 26 by 4s, and we've got drilled 180 millimeter rotors. Let's get this battery out of here. Got a little extra locking mechanism up there, and she drops out. There's the info on the battery: 52 volts and 15.6 amp hours. Max charging input is 5 amps. Actually, kind of a decent toolkit. Some mirrors. Reflector, fasteners, looks like some metal pedals with some decent cleats, kind of a small headlight, gold bell, and a tool pouch with front reflector and a few miscellaneous wrenches. Looks like a different brand charger, 58.8 volts at only 2 amps. That's not a huge battery, so that won't be a huge deal, but of course, since this thing could take 5 amps, this is definitely nowhere near going to be maxing that out. Should get it charged up either way. Get that going. Tighten that down. I don't know if it's the tool or the fasteners, but it seems like these are maybe not quite the right fit. Definitely be mindful of that. All right, let's see what the handlebars look like. So definitely a pretty good rise to them. I believe I have seen this display before. Definitely also seen that control pad. Looks like we've got thumb throttle on the left, Logan hydraulic brakes, and a 7-speed Shimano shifter, which is pretty standard. Grips are a nice grippy, kind of soft rubberish material. Kickstand stays out of the way of the pedals, that's nice. So we've got that same brand hydraulic calipers, preload adjustment on the rider's left, and just a simple lockout on the rider's right. So no damping adjustment, just suspension or no suspension. Rear suspension is also non-adjustable. So we've got a 52-tooth chain ring up front that does get a little bit of protection from the plate on the side. That leads back to the 7-speed Shimano cassette on the rear, and that is adjusted by the Shimano tourney derailleur. There's the model number on the 52-volt motor. This is going to be a 750-watt nominal, 1400-watt peak motor. So that seems to be set properly. We don't get any sort of guard for the derailleur, though. Looks like the charger has given us the green light here, so we'll get the battery unplugged and installed back on the bike. Get that to turn on by holding the power button down. It is kind of a nice color display. I don't remember it being all that incredibly bright, but I think it's certainly usable outside. We get the I button, it cycles through a few things: odometer, max speed, average speed, and a trip meter. Looks like we've got 5 pedal assist level settings. Because this thing has a torque sensor and not a cadence sensor, that pedal assist level is going to be a little bit more true to the name of it, and it's going to kind of adjust the assistance that we get. We'll talk a bit more about how that works on the ride. Button on the bottom here should put us in a pedestrian or walk mode. If I tap the headlight button here, we'll get the headlight. We also get these dual running lights on the back of the frame here, which is really kind of cool. If I give either the front or the rear brakes a squeeze, we get brake lights as well, which is definitely nice. Headlight doesn't appear to be incredibly widespread, but is decently bright. We'll get the rear reflector installed here quick. It looks like the minimum setting for the seat post is right about there where the hash marks are. So that's certainly going to be, well, much taller than what I would need it. I'm about 5'10", and I've got a 31-inch inseam. So we'll drop that down about just all the way to the reflector. And that seems like that actually won't be too bad. I could pretty easily get a decent pedal stroke there. Could certainly raise it up a bit if I needed a little bit more leg room to put some more power down. But it seems like that should be at least comfortable for me. I can't quite get both feet flat, but pretty close. Seems like I'm going to want to adjust the brake levers out a little bit to give myself a little bit more space. Looks like the smallest tool they give you doesn't actually fit in there, so I'll have to use my own. Looks like it's a 2mm. That should be working that handle out a ways. That feels a little better. So I've got the front reflector on, sort of, because these are a taper bar, meaning that the diameter down here is larger than what it is at the control section, and this is made for a, I think, standard 7/8 bar. It's a little bit too large to fit on this portion. There's not really a whole lot of real estate here. Once you've got both mirrors and, of course, the bell on, but it does seem like it should all work. Probably also worth mentioning that underneath the control pad here is a USB port, so you can plug a phone or whatever other device you need to in there. Yeah, seems maybe a little bit bouncy, but I think it should work. I guess we won't know until we hit the road and the trail, so let's do that. Looks like I was taking too long. So it does turn itself off after a while. Got 7.1 miles on since I started. Let's see if this thing will wheelie. Cover the rear brake. Give it a little bit of a head start with the throttle and hit the pedals. Whoa, yeah. It's not incredibly powerful, and of course, like I said, you kind of have to time it right. But if done properly, oh yeah, you could definitely ride a wheelie on that. The mirrors are, well, maybe useful on a bicycle trail, not really on the road. And what if we take this all the way down to 0, which is going to give me no pedal assistance on this slight uphill? If I had to pedal this, I think I could, but on any steep hills, I think I would probably be walking it. This is a pretty heavy bike to not have any assistance from the electric motor, but as soon as we give it even a pedal assistance of 1, you can definitely tell it gets a lot lighter. Pedal assist level 1 with the throttle, about 6 miles an hour going uphill. 2 bumps us up to almost 10, 13 on 3, 16 or so on 4, and then back up to nearly 20. Let's see what this thing's like to pedal with that torque sensor. Cruising about 16 miles an hour in 2nd gear. Feels good, definitely a good cruising speed. And if I wanted to speed up a bit, just got to press on the pedals a little more. And then, if you guys can't hear it, the motor definitely kicks in a bit. Pedal a little harder even, picks up a bit more. And as we increase in speed, we want to, of course, increase our gear ratio. Now we're in 7th, doing about almost top speed, 28. Definitely feels good. I can easily keep up with the pedals. Now we're hitting the hill though, and that's going to slow us down. But if we shift it down a few gears, pedaling basically stays easy, and the motor helps carry us up, which is super nice. However, I'm still, if you can't tell, breathing a bit hard because, contrary to what a lot of people believe about these e-bikes, you really do still get a good workout, especially with these bikes with the torque sensor rather than the cadence sensor. The cadence sensor basically just measures that you're pedaling. So honestly, on those, the shifter is almost useless, where this, I mean, you basically are always shifting between gears. Not always, in an annoying way, but you're able to do it in a very useful way. Kind of track with your speed as you accelerate to keep it at whatever speed you want to be at, and also to go up hills. So definitely a good thing. Really liking the torque sensor so far on here. Oh, the seat, however, after, well, yeah, pretty much immediately, but after almost 9 miles, my butt's getting a little bit sore on it. I mean, there certainly is some squish to it, and it's not all that bad. I mean, it's probably pretty comfy for a mountain bike seat, but certainly not something that I would probably want to personally cruise on all day with. Let's do a 0 to top speed run. Ready, go. "31, 32 with me putting in quite a bit of effort. Whew, yeah, that's about all I got. Now that we're up this high, though, let's test the brakes. Haven't been using them a whole lot, so they're not completely bedded in. Let's give it a try, though. Ready? Woo! Yeah, lifting the back up a little. So those definitely work all right. As far as standing and riding, I can definitely tell that that front is bouncing. Can I lock it out when I'm on it? Probably not. Take the weight off. Lock it out. Oh yeah, that's much better. Definitely doable then. We are down a bar on the battery with 10.2 miles on. I'm going to keep my feet off of the pedals and we'll hit the throttle and see if I can make it up this fairly steep hill on its own. Oh yeah. You can feel that 52 volt power there. No problem at all. 13 miles an hour. 13.6, 7, 8. Real nice. Off-road can be a little bit tricky, so we'll open the suspension back up here and hit the gravel, and this trail will get progressively worse, so we'll see how the Rover does out here. On the road, it seemed plenty stable, so I don't anticipate any issues off-road here. Seems totally fine at what the throttle takes us up to, which is about 20. Ooh, gets off the ground pretty easily. Put a little bit of weight over the front end. A little bit of loose soil here, but tires seem to be gripping just fine. Losing a little bit of speed up the hill. 16 miles an hour. Seems pretty solid. No issues. Definitely kind of dragging down in the motor a little bit there. You're looking at one of these for hunting. I don't necessarily know that it's going to be able to drag a deer up a hill, at least not with all throttle. I guess maybe if you add some pedaling into the mix. As far as just cruising through here for fun, woo, seems to work all right. There we are. The suspension is, woo, I don't want to say soft. I guess I would say pleasantly plush. It's not something that I think is going to excel at any real hard off-road riding, because I can kind of tell I'm losing traction here and there a little bit. But I mean, for the most part, I think if you're just coming out here to cruise, this is really, I think, what you want. Knock it down to 1. Yeah, I can tell my legs are a little bit tired after all this, but still getting me up, no problem. Even though we're on, what, 3 bars of battery. Yeah, still climbs up there nice. So it looks like we ended up with 21.4 miles on the odometer, and we've got 1 bar of battery left. And that's really not a bad range for the size of battery that's in this thing. And after ripping around on this thing for 20 miles, I'm really feeling pretty darn good. The ergonomics are definitely something that I was enjoying the whole time. The seat really isn't all that awful. As far as a mountain bike seat goes, I think it's just fine. No complaints about any of the controls or anything. Brakes work darn well. They never picked up any noise or anything. The motor itself is really nice and quiet as well. The suspension, however, does seem to have picked up a little bit of noise. The big meaty tires on certain types of pavement definitely did make a little bit of a hum, but I can't really say that it was anything annoying or that I disliked. It was really, honestly, kind of a nice noise. They definitely are not the knobbiest tires, and I don't think they're going to last you forever, but they don't really seem to be too beat up after the 20 miles. The torque sensor and the 52-tooth chainring up front and the gear set on the back just works absolutely phenomenally. I never felt like I was having to really pedal hard to keep up. Really worked quite well on the road, off the road, everything. So definitely a very nice riding bike. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want to check out one of these bikes, I'll have a link for it down in the description along with that discount code. So don't be afraid to use that to save yourself a few bucks. Until next time, take care, stay safe, stay swanky, get out there and enjoy this beautiful world God created for yourself any chance you get. And if you can't do that right now, here's more videos to check out in the meantime.